Welcome again, Taurus. It's April 2014. I'm Dadhichi with your monthly synopsis, a view of the heavens and how that might be affecting you just now. As I look at the overall pattern for the month, there are some interesting 6th and 12th house configurations taking place. Yeah, traditionally, especially in the system of Vedic astrology, we look at these two sectors of the zodiac to imply open and secret enemies. So that is a prelude. I'd like to suggest it's a wonderful book I have on my shelf. I think it's timely advice for you, especially if we're seeing these enemies coming out of the woodwork and some of them not. Obviously the hidden enemies aren't going to come out of the woodwork. It's a book called The 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. I love that book. It's based upon the principles of Machiavelli, the medieval political strategist, Sun Tzu, the Art of War, and a few other works that give us an insight into the psychology of others who would wish to hurt us, undermine us, and bring us down. You need a little bit of this information this month. We see these hard aspects, such as the Sun to Mars, from the 12th to the 6th house. Definitely some suppressed aggression will be there. That's around April 9th, leading up to that time. These are hard aspects, and we see the Mercury hard aspect to Jupiter on the 15th, indicating communication that's not exactly going to be your forte or not going to go that well for you. Also, have a look at the position of Pluto in your 9th sector just now. We talked about that last month. That's the place of ethics. You could have some real problems with the people you're working with or dealing with, even friends who are saying and doing things that don't fit your particular mental or spiritual ideal. Now that could be too much for you to handle. That could cause you to retaliate, to attack, or you may be defending yourself against someone who is trying to attack you. So, the preemptive strike is always useful. I use that term a bit. If you can see something coming, you need to posture. And you can attack people without actually beating the hell out of them. You can posture. You can set the trend there, let them know exactly in no uncertain terms just what you expect and what they can expect if they step over that line. It's also important to talk about the revelatory aspects of the planets this month, especially with that eclipse, the lunar eclipse in your 6th house of open enemies. Mars in the triangular aspect to the career sector, that's on the 15th as well. And then the Mercury opposite Mars on the 16th. Now they're classic symptoms to me of people that are either lying to you or not really dealing straight aces with you. You need to trigger your intuition this month to determine which person is the culprit, which person may be outwardly feigning friendship, feigning and pretending to be supportive when in fact behind your back they're ripping you to shreds. That could happen around the 16th. Be very, very careful. The Mercury opposite the Mars, I've found in many, many horoscopes, in the horoscopes of liars, swindlers, people that are really, really not to be trusted. So that's a word of caution around that time. Nice aspects after the 17th, at last, you say. Mercury in the nice aspect to the career sector. Venus from the 11th sector of friendship and fulfillment of desires to Jupiter in the 3rd house. Good for contracts. Good for reaching some understanding with your friends, collaborating with them in joint exercises, joining forces to produce something beautiful, something social, something nice. Also, the intensity of those friendships is shown around the same time with Venus to Pluto, also very strong but positive for you at this time. Nice aspect, always a good aspect after the 20th of April, when the Sun returns to the sign of Taurus. We call this the solar return. Always an energizing aspect, Taurus. Your physical drive, your physical power should lift, and also your self-esteem should be at its pinnacle during this time of the year. It's a 1-month period, April 20th till around the 21st or 22nd of May. Make hay while the sun shines. While you've got that opportunity to impress people, do so. Something troublesome is there in your horoscope after the 20th as well, though. So fortunately you have that energy to act as a buffer. Jupiter and Uranus, Jupiter and Pluto, Uranus and Pluto, these are all hard aspects. Mars and Jupiter, doing too much, expecting too much, or other people expecting too much from you. Again, you need, as I said earlier, you need to be decisive about this. You need to see all of this stuff coming before it happens, preferably in the first or second week of April, because this third week of April, let me assure you, is full of very, very challenging aspects, and aspects that could make life really, really hard for you. Mars and Pluto on the 23rd are in a very difficult aspect, again from that 6th house of enemies to the 9th house of legalities. This could be a time when some of you may be entering into some disputes, legal cases, litigation, disputes that are of a legal nature, sometimes an ethical nature as well. But rest assured, these enemies will do anything they can to play the power trip with you, mind games, so you need to be aware of that. That's why I've suggested that book for you. I've got nothing to gain from it. It's just a very, very good book, The 48 Laws of Power. 27th and 28th, leading up to those dates, we see nice aspects from Venus to Saturn. This is interesting. Some friend could express more interest in you than you would prefer. So this could be the upgrading of a relationship from simply friend to lover. Mercury in nice aspect to Neptune around that time shows that your ideals are very strong. You could have very, very powerful imagination, in brackets, fantasies. There's another eclipse there on the 29th, which is very powerful in your sun sign of Taurus. So this is significant. Eclipses release a lot of energy, good and bad. I liken this to the white piece of cotton cloth that's had an ink stain in it. Of course, when you go to wash that cloth clean, all of that crap's going to come out. So just expect a bit of purging during the last couple of days of the month. All good. You've got to look at it as all good. And in the meantime, till next month when I see you here again, do join me at astrology.com.au for more information on this and lots of other factors of your life now, Taurus. Take care.